top 5 best old muscle cars that are American in GTA 5 Online. And so these are about cars that are featured from the year 1999 and before in real life that are in GTA. And so today, if you're new, hit the subscribe button to see my latest videos. Hit the like button to be seeing and show your support for this video. But for the ado, let's go ahead and start with number 5. For number 5 here, I've got the Vapid Click, which this here is a muscle car, and this might be kind of surprising considering that there's other cars in this game that might be a little bit better in your opinion, or seem better. But the reason why this is so good is because back when this was released, back in like 2017, this was really the only muscle car at the time that could actually handle well and had great top speed and great acceleration compared to the other muscle cars in the game, because back then muscle cars would just slide and not actually be able to get any traction, and their tires would just spin as you try to accelerate. But this one doesn't. This one actually starts to go when you press down the accelerator and actually would go pretty quickly. And like I said, the handling of it's actually really good. The traction's really good. It actually handles like a normal sports car nearly, compared to the other muscle cars that were in the game back in 2017. I would be doing stunt races, and I'd be using this car and just beating every other person because they were choosing stuff like the Impener Dukes and the Ruiner and other muscle cars that just did not handle well as this one. But there's been more cars added, and that's the reason why I had to put it at number 5. Alright, so for the 4th spot, I've got the Infinite A-Reader GT, and so this is a pretty new muscle car in the game. And so I had to put this at number 4 because really I think the overall looks of this car are kind of ugly, and it's not the best looking muscle car in the game. But the performance of this is probably the fastest muscle car in the game, since it has the how special works other than the new Camaro. But that's not relevant because that's, you know, a modern day muscle car compared to the rest of this list. This one, it's old muscle cars. But kind of like how back to the looks of this car, I think it's kind of ugly looking, and maybe it's because of the build I have on it. But I think the build on it is kind of good looking. I tried my best to make it look nice, make it look cool. But like I said, this is a Howes Special Works vehicle, so it has a really good top speed, of course, which as you can see here, it's should reach about 140 or so at its top speed, 150. And so it's a very fast car. The handling of it's not too bad. It's probably on the better side for other muscle cars that are kind of similar to it, but it can do real good just drifting and burnouts and donuts, as you can see here. It's a fun car to drive for sure. I definitely recommend to buy this though, if you're on new gen or next gen, however you consider it. It's got really good modifications because it's a new car in the game. You can do a lot, like the hood and the spoiler and the bumpers, of course. But there's really nothing too much that stands out in this vehicle other than just it being able to be a Howes Special Works vehicle and it having a great and high top speed. Let's go ahead and continue on to number 3. Alright, number 3, I have the Bravado Gauntlet Classic. This here is a really iconic car in real life, I believe, with it being a old Challenger in real life. This is a great car. The looks of it is probably one of my favorite looking muscle cars in the game. Probably my second favorite looking muscle car in the game. But this has pretty good top speed. It's got a Benny's version of it, of course, as you can see here. You can buy it off the Benny's website, which makes it unique compared to other muscle cars in the game. But it's really just here because of how iconic it is in real life, how good it looks, and the performance of it's pretty solid. The handling and traction is kind of average for muscle cars. Nothing too special, nothing too unheard of, but overall a great muscle car to get. And if you're into muscle cars, you definitely want to add this to your collection. If not, then you know you can pass this one up. But I feel like I had to put this somewhere on this list, and this is where it falls. Alright, number 2, I have the Chevy Nova, or I mean the Vamos. And this here is, in my opinion, the best looking muscle car in the game, and possibly in real life. But anyways, what makes this thing really stand out compared to the other muscle cars in this game is, I mean, right here you can see the turbos just peeking through the grill there. You can see the two of them just shining right at your face. And then if you go ahead and pop the hood here, the doors, you go ahead and pop the hood. It's got a nice big V8 there, as you can see. So it's got quite some detail to it. But of course, I think one of the best things about this car is that it has the fastest, what's it called? Fastest wheelie out of any car in the game, of course. But the looks of it are great. The performance is pretty good. It's got a decent handling. The traction's a little bit off. The traction kind of is mediocre, but still the top speed of this car is very fast. One of the fastest muscle cars in the game for this style. But if you don't really own any muscle cars, this might be a good spot to start with. Even though the traction isn't the greatest, but the handling's alright. The handling's pretty good for a muscle car. It's got great customization, like how I said, you can put turbos peeking through the front grille there, of course. And this car is a very fun thing to just drive around too. I love drifting it and just sliding around with it, of course, as I do with really any muscle car in the game. But that's why this is at number 2, and it's time to show number 1. On here, I have the Deviant, and this, number 1, the main reason why is because this thing, the performance of this is probably top-notch for not being a House Special Works vehicle. This is probably the best performance muscle car that is older, that fits the variable of being under 2000, under the year of 2000, and not having House Special Works. But the overall looks of this car look really great. It just looks like it's meant to be aggressive. It looks like it's meant to be dragged. It looks like it's meant to be one of the fastest cars on the street, and that is pretty true for its top speed compared to the other muscle cars on this list, other than the one Breeder or whatever GT, that car. That thing's really fast because it has the special works, but this here is still really competitive, and it has great traction, great handling. Sort of like how I was talking about with the Click at number 5. It can compete and actually be better than the Click. This thing, it doesn't flip, it doesn't roll, it stays on the ground, it doesn't lose traction. It's a great car, and if you don't have any muscle cars in the game, this is a great one to start with because it's fairly cheap compared to other cars in this game. It's like only a couple $100,000, I believe. So anybody can probably afford this. It's a fun car to get. It's got great customization, of course. But here I've got kind of a drag build, or kind of a restored look to it, with the kind of burnt orange color here with the chrome accessories, chrome details, chrome trim, that's what I'm looking for. But that really concludes my list there. If you have anything that you feel like I might have missed, it's really because it was just super hard to really get a top 5, and I just had to go ahead and select 5 things that I were almost going to add, were like the Nightshade, the Vapid Ellie, or also the Saber Turbo is one that I was considering because it also has a Benny's version of it. But I had it ultimately just come out with the top 5, and those were my top 5. So if you have any things that you feel like I could have done differently, put that in the comments down below. Share your opinions, but hit the like button to show your support towards the video. Subscribe to see my latest content and show your support towards me as a creator. But that's what I got for you guys today, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.